Hello everyone, welcome to, well this is take 2 of this video. Welcome to a new video on this YouTube channel. I was supposed to make videos on this YouTube channel regularly because I find myself getting asked a lot of questions in my line of work, and I just thought, well, whenever I do get asked questions a lot, I'll dump that answer on this channel. This is the Stage Lighting Workshop, of course. So, first of all, we're just going to talk about what this video actually is focusing on. So this is focusing on ETC EOS Augmented. And just for those who are unaware, Augmented is the visualization program that is baked into EOS 3. Onwards. You won't find it in 2.9.2 and prior. The reason for that is that the whole software had a bit of an overhaul from that point onwards, and you'll find previous models, previous consoles not supporting that. However, have no fear, you're more than capable of creating a version 3 show file and having an augmented visualization, etc., and then going to a venue with 2.9.2 Ion or Geo or whatever, dumbing down the show file. It's very easy to do. I'll just quickly show you. You can hop into your browser, you go into File, and then save as you normally would. And if I just I don't know, pick a random show file here. There we go. So before you press save, you can see you get 3 options. You get save with an augmented model, and this will save the file as is, including the visualization in augmented. You have save show data only, and then you also have save as legacy and lower. So you've got 2 options there. Very, very, very useful. Nice bit of backward compatibility and flexibility. So thank you very much to ETC on that. So anyway, before I carry on as well, for those who are unaware why it's called augmented and not just any old visualizer, is it does offer augmented reality options. And what this means is you can put flags in reality, in your real space, scan those into your 3D world model, and it would generate a very, very accurate representation, scale representation of your space. It's not something I've used because I don't see any level of urgency in my work to use such a technique. However, I can totally understand how it would be of assistance to others, and the options that opens up. However, what I've seen time and time again, and this is what this video is all about, and hopefully what you've got from the description and title, is the visualizer comes across as limited to a lot of people because they're used to capture, and the first thing they're presented with the visualizer in EOS is something that looks somewhat primitive. And I'm going to show you the settings that are both in augmented and in the patch that will allow you to create what you are looking for, and the flexibility this in fact opens up. For reference, I've actually, when I'm using EOS in theatrical shows, that is, of course, I've crossed over from capture, and I tend to use sorry, that's my phone there. I tend to use augmented because it's all in one show file, etc. And before I go any further, of course, if you're using a dumbed down version of the show file on a legacy console that doesn't support augmented, you can have a laptop in augmented tether mode. It's very, very simple to do, and you can run that in a standalone program that's available to download online. So yes, we're going to just go from scratch, I think, and I'm going to just first of all reset everything so that I don't miss anything out. So I'm just going to reset all of my tabs here. For reference, there are 3 windows in total, but I've only got 2 displays set up today, so I will be switching between 2 displays. I'm just going to hop over to number 1. So I'm going to make my third display my augmented display. So for that, we're just going to hop into augmented. if we tap on our new tab, if you've got displays controls in the new layout, it's the top left option. I am using a touchscreen there. And we hop into augmented, and I'm going to just bring my camera home here. Now, as you can see, I've got a stage set up. I've got things set up. I've got things going. You can see there's some light on stage. Now, when I mention, people seem to get this bizarre opinion of augmented and view it as somewhat basic. I'm going to explain what I mean by that. If we just turn on a bit more light and go into options there, your default options might not be what they are here. So the quality, we have low, medium, high and ultra. I'm currently in high. There is a little indicator, by the way, in the bottom right. If we hover over that, it should... Oh, there we go. Should hover over that. There we go. It shows your frame rate and basically color codes that so that you can get an idea of how well your machine is performing under augmented. Anyway, what we can do is a few things you can do to make your augmented experience a lot more usable and a lot more friendly, shall we say. Let's just go and kill what I've got on stage here. I'm just going to go ahead and put these lights on. So, for example, this is going to be my prime example of something that looks wrong, but that needs to be addressed. Okay? And when I mean addressed, I mean fixed, not literally readdressed. So, here we have 4 fixtures, all creating hard edge spot looks. However, these fixtures in augmented are in fact Fresnels, and we know as lighting designers, as lighting technicians, this is not the look you would get from a Fresnel fixture. So we can see we've got hard edge here. In fact, it's rather distorted. It's not very nice at all. So first of all, there's a few things we can do. I've got it in high mode, and you may get it in approximated mode. You may get it in pass-through mode, or you may get it in realistic mode. And you can see the difference occurring over on this wing here. So let me have a look. If I put it in approximated mode and get rid of that, the light sort of is approximately where it should be, but we can still see some flags, some elements of light hitting the cloth there. So if I then set it to realistic, we end up with a shadow and the light doesn't hit that area. And that is something that I very much like using in this visualizer, and it's something I tend to leave it in this layer. I've never needed it in any other configuration. However, I can understand when you might. I'm not going to go through everything here. Of course, there's sticks and various other options, but there's the better videos actually made by ETC that demonstrate that. Of course, there's the haze option. There's things like the beams, the intensity, the glow, the diffusion. I tend to put the intensity to 100 because I believe it defaults at 50 and I prefer it at 100, which seems to round it out. I'm not going to lie, I don't entirely know what the logic is behind that, but you know, that to me doesn't look right at full, especially for 1K Fresnel, so I'm going to put it at 100. Anyway, sorry about that, we went on a tangent. So, as you can see, we've now got our visualizer in realistic mode, which means we've got shadows presenting themselves. We've got haze in the air, and we've got a fairly high frame rate and resolution. However, and this is the thing that makes people question how powerful augmented really is, you can still clearly see that what we're generating does not look like it's coming from a Fresnel. And for reference, in the patch, the fixtures that are creating this that you're seeing in augmented on your screen right now, the type is in fact set to generic Fresnel, not profile or dimmer. So what do we do to actually control this look? Now, for reference, I'm currently using, what am I using? Let's have a look. We're currently running version 3.1.1 build 120. I have a sneaky suspicion I'm due an update, so it's entirely plausible that these options have become a lot more easier to use. But nonetheless, I'm just going to go into the very quick and easy way of you controlling how your fixtures look, because of course these are generic fixtures. You need to go up a ladder to change them. We don't need a ladder in Augmented, I bizarrely, believe it or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on our second monitor, and I'm going to do all the jiggery pokery over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into patch, and I'm going to just create a new workspace with a patch tab in it, and there we are. So of course we're all familiar with the patch layout, channel address, type label, interface, output, and then all of the wonderful gubbins at the bottom. Sorry, I've just hiccups. So what can I do now? We need to change the orientation. If I just quickly press the magic buttons on my thing here, if I just switch OBS around so you can see that we've still got our hard edge. That's not what we want. It doesn't suit our application at all, because I want to use this as a realistic visualizer. So what do I do? Well, first of all, you of course you can do this one by one, but in this case I know group 11, which is those 4 Fresnels, need to be adjusted, need to be refocused. So all I can do is call up group 11, and we can see it is in fact set as a Fresnel in the type section there, and they're all at full, which is correct. But how do we make sure that they look like they are outputting something we would recognize and what we'd want them to be like in the visualizer? Of course, as I said, I could understand maybe further down the line, further releases of the software, generic Fresnel fixture types would automatically behave as such in the visualizer. However, having these options do have a level of flexibility which perhaps you wouldn't get with capture, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So you've got your patch, we're aware of this. Attributes, again, we've used this before. This isn't necessarily Augmented specific, not particularly that relevant. Database, now this does hold some relevance to Augmented. Things like Gobo and Gel, specifically or more commonly Gel. So if I click on the Gel column, we get a text box, and the reason for that is if you know a filter or a Gel number that you want to put in, you can do so and it will apply it in Augmented. So for example, I believe Tokyo Blue is Lee 120, so I go L120, hit enter, and as you can see in our database view of the patch, you'll notice that all of the gels are now populated with L120, and EOS has automatically nicked the color from the swatch in the software and populated that for us. Brilliant. And of course this information can be printed from EOS as a PDF, which is of course very helpful for those people who just want to keep their records and put it in technical Ride and Bible, etc. If I go over to my separate monitor, look what we've got here in Augmented. The software has matched it to my gel. So that's how you would put a gel into an Augmented conventional fixture. Of course, we do this in Capture, and in EOS, we do this again here, just typing in the number and getting it done. Of course, my personal opinion is I think perhaps there could be, or rather it would be of great use to have an option to click on the gel function and then scroll through the swatches rather than having to type it in. Now, that's not necessarily a problem for me. I have a sort of collection of colours in my mind that I regularly call up. But, you know, some people don't. And it's, you know, it would be an easy thing, I imagine, to add into the software. So, ETC, if you're listening, that would be amazing. So, again, let's try Lee 106. There we go. That's a primary red, I believe. As you can see, database has updated live and on screen too. You can see augmented has also updated as well, which is of course very helpful indeed. It's fantastic. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to pop it back into my favourite Lee 120. And oh, hello, Lee 12. No, that's not what I mean. Let's put this Lee 12. Lee 120. There we go. Okay, we're now back to that lovely blue colour. Anyway, that's the database. So, for those who've never used the database before, by the way, it's just a great place you can store information. As you can see, we get a variety of plain old text columns, which you can populate with information, organise information, etc. You get categories, types. For example, we've got scrollers on part 2s of other channels, as you can see on the left, and they've been classified as accessories. So you know, you get there's some real use hidden in the patch of EOS. It's been there for a very, very long time, and I don't see it getting used as often, and I find it very useful indeed. And of course, this can be printed as a PDF document, which is very helpful. It actually prints out a bit more like a spreadsheet, which is very, very helpful indeed. So, moving on now, we're getting onto the area that perhaps people haven't used as much, and that is augmented 3D in the patch settings. So, all of a sudden, we're slammed in the face with a whole menagerie of numbers, and basically the information we're now displaying is the positional information of the fixtures in the visualization world. So you'll see we've got world position, orientation, position orientation, and then we've got, this is the stuff we actually want to mess with. We've got beam angle, shutters, etc. So that's what we're going to start to play with today. So you can see that's what we're going to be playing with. So more importantly, I want to address things like beam edge and beam angle. These are the things we're going to want to change to suit our fixtures. So, as I've got 4 selected, they will update all 4 at the same time. So, for example, if these Fresnels are going to be somewhere around the realm of 35 degrees, 35 degrees of a beam. Are they going to be anywhere near around 35 degrees? Sorry, I can't speak today. I literally can just type that in, hit enter, and that updates. And if I just hop over to screen 2, as you can see, beam angle has shrunk on the ones in the centre there, very much so. I'm now going to update live, so you can see this. I've now clicked on exactly the same thing, and I've now typed in 10, and I'm going to hit enter. And as you can see, the beams have shrunk right down. Of course, these are not parameters you can edit live in a queue, because these are conventional fixtures in the patch. What we're doing is the virtual reality sort of equivalence of an LX Tech going up the ladder and adjusting, or the taller scope, or whatever you're using, you know, the Genie, adjusting the beam angle. But let's say for argument's sake, we are, I don't know, let's go 40 degrees. So there we go, nice and wide. So that's all well and good, but it clearly doesn't look like what we would expect from a Fresnel. The reason for that is the beam edge area here, which is just below shutters, here we are, is not populated, and thus it defaults. If I edit that parameter, to, say for example, 50. Or I don't know. Let's go a bit harder. Let's go 100. There we go. Harsher rather. That's what I meant. We can see this is. I really like this. Here we go. You can see that has softened up our beam edge no end. So if I bring this to 70, I've now typed in 70 beam edge. Again, a little bit hard, still quite soft. You could probably achieve that with something else. 90. And of course, anywhere in between is possible as well. And then, of course, 100. And I'm not sure if it goes further. Let's try that. No, 100 is the maximum. That defaulted to 15 there. But there we go. So that's how you would adjust the beam edge and soften up the edge of your fixture, which is fantastic. It's something we all recognise now as being something in a Fresnel. Of course, as I said, I think perhaps in future versions to the generic Fresnel, generic profile, etc., 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 will probably have default characteristics that will be set. And I'd like that in a future version. So ETC, again, if you're watching, that'd be fantastic. So yeah, that's something very, very useful indeed. The one last thing I am going to talk about today is the shutter column. Now, we're using Fresnel, so I don't think it's particularly very suitable that we actually use a Fresnel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop into our live view, and we are going to... I might kill everything on stage, and let's put a source 4 on. Here we are, I've got a source 4 in the rig. So let's check that out. There we go. Move this out of the way. So, as you can see, we have a hard edge source 4. I like that. But what if I, in the actual show, will have this as a square? I know, it's a very bizarre situation, of course. We use the shutters for more specific purposes most of the time, but let's just say, for argument's sake, that's what we're going to do. How do I change that in Augmented? Well, it's very, very simple. We go back to the landed patch, and again it may look like this, but either way, you want channel whatever it is that's specific to you. In this case, we're editing channel 36, which is a source 4. And again, we go to Augmented, and it displays all the augmented information for that. And I'm going to click on, down in the bottom right, the shutters column, which again is blank and thus defaults. So I'm going to click on that there. And as you can see, we get something we might recognise if we use the EOS Classic, or perhaps, I don't know really, what else comes up on. The Apex, maybe, you know, when you're using a profile moving lights and you want to edit the shutters. We can do that in patch with a conventional. And of course, we can thrust the shutters in and out, and we can angle them. Now, I'm going to show you what I'm doing in the visualiser. So, I'm now moving the shutters in and out. And as you can see, we are making a shape as you would expect on a profile, as you would expect in real life. And what I can do is let me just show you, by the way, what's happened in patch as a result. Let's go over here. You can see now, when I've left the shutters settings, we now have A, B, C, D in the shutters column. This basically says these are the shutters that have been edited for this. If I only moved C shutter, only C would be in that column. And as you can see, that's the shape I've drawn out to create what we've got on stage. It's exactly as you'd expect in reality. It's very, very cool indeed. And then what I can do is I can edit the beam edge as you would expect, and I can you know, soften it up. So let's do that. Let's watch that in reality. As you can see, we've got hard edge there. I can reset that to something. Let's go and go hard edge again. I can go soft edge. You know, we've got some fantastic options available, and I can edit the beam angle. So I've typed in 15 beam angle there, and we've got it a lot wider. Or if I wanted to be nice and specific and say 19, I can indeed be that specific. So there we are. That is how we change the options for making a more realistic visualization in Augmented. So just to go over everything, we have put color in fixtures in Augmented. We've edited beam edge in Augmented. We've edited beam angle in Augmented. We've changed the shutter orientation. So yeah, the options are indeed there. And of course, so long as you've got those settings in Augmented itself, which I showed previously, I'll just move this out of the way, apologies. In the options section here, we can make sure that things run realistically. That's if you're looking for if you're looking to make Augmented run in a realistic sense, then that is indeed the option you want. The reason, of course, I've made this is because I've mentioned that I tend to use Augmented a lot now, and people tend to say, oh, well, it seems fairly primitive in comparison to Capture. And yes, it's not there. It's not there entirely, but I think definitely, for me at least, when it comes to theatrical applications, where I'm always on EOS, it's certainly something I like using. It makes a lot of sense. Just ease. There's no confusion in terms of show files. Anyone with this software can open it. Yeah, and that is a very, very good point, actually. I should probably stress that, of course. With Capture, not everyone has Capture, but not everyone has EOS. However, it is a free download online. As soon as they have that, they can open up this show file, not only have the Augmented thing, but they can also have all of the cues, the channels, the addresses, everything in one package. And it's indeed a very useful tool. So anyway, hope this has been very helpful. This is just something that I quickly put together to answer something that seems to come up a lot. Thanks a lot. I've been Charlie, and of course, any questions or anything you want to see in future videos and etc., etc. I'm just going to use this as sort of a bit of an info dump. You know, things that I tend to come across. If it's a question in regards to lighting design practices, whether it's a question in regards to EOS, I am currently on my MA3 learning journey, but I will indeed be happy to make videos about that if that's something people are interested in. And yes, also I'm also an LX Tech, and if there are any questions in regards to lighting technology, signal flow, or perhaps intelligent lighting maintenance, or conventional lighting maintenance for that matter, all of these questions I'm more than happy to answer, and I'm happy to do a video on. I've got a little workshop set up, and I can bring the camera along and film a little bit in the real world. All in all, thank you very much for watching. Hope this has answered some people's questions, and very much appreciate it.